You know that feeling when you finally get everything you worked for? The title, the team, the recognition, and yet something still feels missing. You are supposed to feel proud, but instead you feel tired, maybe even a little disconnected, like your success belongs to everyone but you. No one prepares you for the silence that comes after achievement when the applause fades and you start asking, why doesn't this feel like I thought it would? For a long time, I didn't have an answer either, because from the outside, everything looks perfect. But in the inside, it was quiet, too quiet. This isn't a story about failure. It's a story about success that lost its meaning. And if you ever felt that quiet emptiness behind your achievements, you're not alone. This conversation is for you. For years, I believed progress defines my worth. Every promotion, every presentation that landed well, every thank you message from senior leadership felt like validation. I measured my value by deliverables, by the size of the projects I led, the titles I earned, the outcomes I could prove. There were months when I barely saw my children awake because I was leading national programs, managing teams, and preparing reports at midnight. I was part of Vision 2030 initiatives, handling budgets that ran into billions, coordinating across ministers, balancing expectations from every direction. People saw the precision, the results, the composure. They saw the woman who always delivered, but they didn't see the quiet moments after the meetings ended. The inside, I sat in the car for 10 extra minutes just to breathe before walking into another role, mother, mentor, friend, somewhere between chasing goals and meeting expectations. I lost the simple joy of just being myself. I couldn't see myself underneath. I'd go home to my kids, my family, my friends, and even in the laughter, there was a quiet voice inside saying, is this all there is? That's the paradox of high achievements. You spend years chasing validation, only to realize it never falls the space it promised to. Because achievements without alignment doesn't create fulfillment. It creates fatigue. And when your success starts costing you peace, it's time to redefine what success really means. There was a moment I will never forget. It did not arrive dramatically. It crept quietly in the middle of yet another high-stake project that everyone else called success, but I could not feel it. I was being celebrated in meetings, recognized in reports, appreciated by people whose opinion once mattered, but inside, I felt invisible. One night, driving home long, after the city light had dimmed, I turned off the radio and just listened to my own thoughts. And that is when it hit me. I had everything I had worked for, everything I thought I wanted. But I could not recognize myself anymore. I was not feeling, I was functioning. performing leadership instead of living it. That night, I did not want to walk away from my career. I wanted to return to it, definitely, to find the version of myself I had to lost along the way. The one who did not chase validation, the one who did not measure her value by outputs, the one who did not need to prove her worth, only protect her truth. Psychologists called this the achievement void. It's happened when accomplishment outruns identity. Fast Company reports that 68% of leaders struggle with imposter feeling because the higher they climb, the less they feel seen. The brain adapts to success quickly. Dopamine spikes, then drops, leaving a constant hunger for more. That is why even high achievers feel restless after wins, because your nervous system never gets a moment to rest. Fulfillment is not built from doing more, it's built from feeling enough where you already are. And that is the shift from proving to belonging, from achieving to aligning. True leadership begins the moment success stops being a mask and start becoming a mirror. When I began coaching others leaders, I saw the same story playing out. Brilliant people, powerful titles, and yet an invisible fatigue underneath it all. They would say things like, I should be happy. I have everything I wanted, but I'm not. And I would smile because I understood that silence too well. Fulfillment is not a milestone you arrive at. It's a relationship you rebuilt with yourself. One of my clients, a senior executive, once confessed, I don't know who I am outside of my role. So we begin with something simple. 5 quiet minutes before her first meeting each morning. No emails, no calls, no agenda, just breath. Within weeks, she said her mornings felt lighter, and her team noticed the change too. She was not leading less, she was leading presence. That is the truth most achievers miss. Stillness does not slow you down. It sharpens your presence, because the moment you stop running from the quiet, you start hearing yourself again. And that is where fulfillment begins to return. Awareness means little without action. So if you have ever felt the same quiet emptiness behind your success, here are a few ways to start finding meaning again. One day at a time. You don't need to change everything overnight. Start small, start gently. Here are a few practices that help me reconnect with meaning after success, starting feeling empty. First, create space before achievements. Before every big decision or meeting, take 60 seconds to pause and ask yourself, what outcome actually matters to me here? Approval or alignment? That one question can change your entire day. Second, replace your to-do list with to-feel list. Every morning, decide how you want to feel. Calm, clear, present, and let that guide how you plan your time. Your emotions deserve as much intention as your goals. Third, protect one pocket of stillness each day. It could be 5 minutes before you open your laptop, 10 minutes in the car before you walk into the house, or one quiet coffee alone. Use that time to simply be without performing. Fourth, keep a weekly enough list. Every Friday, write down 3 things that were already enough. A project you completed, a boundary you kept, or a moment you chose peace instead of pressure. Fulfillment grows from noticing what is already working. And finally, learn the art of gentle no's. Say no once a week to something small, a meeting that doesn't need you, an extra task that drains your energy, an expectation that doesn't align with your priority. That one small no begins to rebuild your sense of control. Here is what I have learned after decades of achievements. You don't need to quit your career to reconnect with yourself. You just need to stop outsourcing your peace to your performance. Success will always feel empty if it's not connected to meaning. So pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, what part of me have I left behind in mind pursuit of more? Because maybe it's not more that you need, it's enough. If this made you pause, stay. This is a space for leaders who are ready to rebuild success from inside out.